Welcome to Revision Hub. Today we're going to be looking at the topic of psychopathology and the unit of depression. AQA AS Psychology. So for DSM-5, this is the Diagnostical Statistical Manual, version 5. Depression is a major depressive disorder, is extreme short depression. Persistent depressive disorder is long-term or depression that comes back, and this includes sustained major depression. Disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and this is childhood temper tantrums. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is when mood gets disrupted before and during menstruation. Characteristics of depression. The behavioral characteristics of depression are lack of energy, you withdraw from work or education and social life. You have psychotic agitation, which is when you struggle to relax. Sleeping patterns change, so either you have reduced sleep. Eating behavior changes, so either you eat more, gain weight, or eat less, lose weight. You're aggressive and you may cause self-harm. Emotional characteristics are that you have a low mood, you see yourself to be empty and worthless, so a low self-esteem is possible as well. Extreme anger towards yourself or others, and this can cause you to be aggressive or self-harm yourself. Cognitive characteristics of depression are lack of concentration, so you find it difficult to focus on a set task and decision making difficult. You attend and dwell on negative thoughts, so you have a bias towards only stating sort of the negative and the sad events. You're an absolutist thinker, so black and white thinking, and situations are always thought to being a complete disaster when they're really not. Explaining depression. So one of the explanations to explain depression comes from the cognitive approach. That's Beck's cognitive theory of depression. So cognitions, which is the way you think, are what make you vulnerable to depression. There's 3 parts of cognitive vulnerability. The first one being faulty information processing. So you attend to the negative situation and ignore all the positives. So you blow events out of proportion. Secondly, negative self-schemas. So this is negative thinking. Self-schemas are negative thinking. Negative self-schemas are negative thinking about yourself. And as you may know, schemas are packets of information that are formed through experience. So in this case, you think negatively about yourself. The negative triad. So you have negative views about yourself, the world, others, and the future. So it almost forms a triangle. Evaluation. So supporting evidence, because Guazioli and Terry in 2000 tested 65 pregnant women for depression and cognitive vulnerability before and after birth. It was found that women that had a high cognitive vulnerability were more likely to suffer from postnatal depression, increasing the reliability of Beck's explanation. Another strength is that there's practical application in cognitive behavioral therapy, because all cognitive elements of depression can be identified and challenged. Hence, the components of the negative triad are identifiable, increasing validity. However, a weakness is that all of the aspects of depression are not explained, because Beck cannot easily explain the anger experienced by depressed people. Thus, extreme emotions are not really accounted for, decreasing its generalizability. Another explanation of depression is Ellis' ABC model. So this model gives an explanation of how irrational thoughts affect behavior and emotional states. So a good mental health is sort of as a result of your thinking. So positive thoughts and taking things as they come. Irrational thoughts act as barriers towards your happiness and good mental health. So this is ABC model. So A stands for activating an event. So irrational thoughts are triggered by external events. So if you're depressed, you remember the negative events which trigger the irrational beliefs. B stands for beliefs, should always achieve success, and this does not happen, then it is a disaster, and we call this masturbation. And there's also a sense of utopianism, because there's a belief that life always has to be fair. C stands for consequences, so you're emotional, and this obviously then impacts the way that you behave. Evaluating this is ABC model. A strength is that there's practical applications in CBT because it informs that you have to challenge irrational negative beliefs in order to overcome or reduce depression. This is supported by Lipsky et al. 1980, increasing reliability. However, a weakness is that it's only a partial explanation because reactive depression is very different because it doesn't really have an obvious cause. But this is not accounted for, decreasing generalizability. Another weakness is that all the aspects of depression cannot be explained because it cannot explain why some are more vulnerable than others because of their cognition, which decreases validity. Treating depression. So we have cognitive behavioural therapy, which starts with the necessity the client and the therapist carry out discussion to get clarity about the problem. Then goals are set and an action plan to achieve them is made. The aim is to challenge negative and irrational thoughts to be able to change them by replacing them with effective behaviours. You may have noted that I referred to the patient as client because in CBT the patient is referred to as a client and not a patient. So, cognitive behavioural therapy in terms of Beck's cognitive therapy. So negative thoughts about yourself, the world, others, and the future, so our negative triad, are challenged. This helps to test the reality of these negative beliefs. Homework is also set, for example, record when someone was nice to you, so you sort of get like a diary. And these completed homework tasks are used as evidence to tell the client that they were wrong when they said that, for example, everybody's rude to them. CBT in terms of rational emotive behavior therapy, so REBT. So the ABC model now has the addition of D for dispute and E for effect. When the client mentions how unlucky or unfair things are, this is identified by the therapist who then challenges this irrational belief. So when we say challenge, just like a vigorous argument in order to change the irrational beliefs and break the link between negative life events and depression. Evaluation and strength is that CBT is effective because Martel in 2007 compared the effects of CBT, antidepressant drug, and both in 327 adolescents with depression. It was found that CBT was just as effective as medication, or it was useful to carry out CBT as well as taking medication, increasing reliability. However, a weakness is that CBT may not be useful for severe cases of depression because the symptoms of depression limit the client from engaging in the hard cognitive work that's required in CBT because they simply just have lack of motivation to do so. Another weakness is that the success of CBT could be due to the relationship between the therapist and the patient or the client, which is how the patient is referred to, and not really the techniques used, which suggests that in this busy world we might just need someone who we can talk to and someone who can just listen to our problems. In our next video we will look at obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, but before then make sure you make your notes on what we've covered so far. Remember to revise, rest, test and repeat yourself. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Thank you to Canva because I made these slides using their templates. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, press the bell icon on our channel, Revision Hub.